Our Canna chat is going to be debunking myths. So I am Sierra Keaton. I am the Canna Nurses Coach. I am a cannabis nurse educator, coach, and consultant, and owner and founder of Care with Balance and Dignity Incorporated. Also CEO of Balance Relief, a cannabinoid wellness retail and wholesale company. And we are here for our weekly Wednesday night Canna chat. I know there are quite a few new guys in the group. So again, welcome, and know that here in Canna Chat, when you're coming on live, feel free to ask questions. Drop any information in the chat for me, and I will definitely try to unpack whatever questions you might have. So tonight's topic is debunking myths. There is so much hearsay, I'll call it, in the cannabis world, particularly when it comes to nurses. And so I want to unfold some of the myths that are associated with cannabis and particularly cannabis nursing. So if you guys have questions that people have told you or theories that you think may be pertaining to nursing and practicing, drop them down here in the chat for me. I do actually have a list of some questions I get and some myths. So I'm going to begin to break those down. Get to my notes because I wanted to make sure to bring you guys this. I'm so dedicated to bringing you guys correct information and debunking these myths about tapping off into the cannabis world. So can anyone watching live with me, what do you think one of the biggest myths that you hear about cannabis and cannabis nursing, quote unquote? Hey, Miss Jacqueline, welcome. Good evening. How are you? Anything that you guys hear all the time that you want to know if it's true or false when it pertains to cannabis nursing? While I wait for you guys to drop in the comments, I'm going to start with the first one. Cannabis isn't legal in my state, so I can't practice as a cannabis nurse. That's probably the biggest myth that I hear. And it is definitely a myth, 200%. When people focus only on the legality of whether cannabis is legal in their state, they miss the whole sorry guys, they miss the whole misconception of what a cannabis nurse is or what they want it to portray. And yes, we all know that cannabis is federally illegal. It is considered a Schedule I. We all know that legalization is pending, right? In the works. I don't want to say pending. We are getting closer and closer to federal legalization. That federal legalization does not necessarily mean that you're going to be able to practice cannabis in your state, first thing. The second thing is, what do you mean by practicing cannabis, right? THC, as we know it, marijuana, because this is the name that they put on it, is illegal at a federal level, but CBD and all of the cannabinoids of the plant that are derived from hemp, which hemp is a sativa plant, is legal in all 50 states. So the biggest debunking of this myth is that not many nurses who practice cannabis nursing actually touch the plant. Most states, not all, let me back it up. A lot of states have comprehensive medical marijuana programs. So educating clients about it and guiding them towards best practices and educating them is legal right? You haven't broken any laws. So that is the first myth I want to debunk. You can practice as a cannabis nurse in any state. So let's get that out the boat. I don't know why this keeps jumping on. My apologies, guys. What's next? People hear about cannabis nursing and their mind automatically goes to MLM, right? Multi-level marketing. And I can kind of understand why that happens, right? Because a lot of cannabis nursing in the beginning was being an affiliate or being a network marketer to CBD companies. And so that is one of the biggest things that I get asked when people are trying to find out cannabis nursing, and I invite them to the group. They're always like, is that MLM? I don't, because MLM scares most people. I don't know why, but it does. And knowing that that is not the only way to practice as a cannabis nurse. And honestly, MLM is the most hands-off way to practice as a cannabis nurse. I teach nurses there's no need to do MLM if you want to be in the cannabis world, because you can create your own thing to do exactly what you would do in MLM. Just saying. So that is the second myth to debunk. Cannabis nursing is not about multi-level marketing, and it's not just about selling products. So that takes us right into the third myth, right? Do I have to touch products? You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. And I say that to empower you. We are CEOs or gearing ourselves up to be CEOs, and your business is yours. So if you don't want to touch products, don't set your business model up to touch products. If you don't want to involve THC, thrive on that. Set your business up to be a cannabis nurse that practices without the practices of THC. But once you learn to plant, you're probably not going to want to do that. Your business is what you make it. Being in the cannabis world, yes, there are special tweaks, and I think that we have leverage in this lane, but it is still like any other business, and it has to be built. It has to be built. This is no elevator to the top route, at least not inside of cannabis. There's no elevator to the top. We take the stairs. I'm trying to turn them stairs into an escalator for y'all, though. How to take what I've done in 6 years and do it in one. Definitely ways to be more strategic in your business, but your business is yours, and you can make it to be exactly what you want it to be or what you need it to be. If cannabis nursing is your passion, it doesn't matter where you reside, what your specialty is, what your background is. You can strategically set yourself a spot in the cannabis lane. So big. It's so, so big. And I hope you guys are catching how big the cannabis world is. I try to make sure that I show you these aspects of the cannabis world. I'm going to be focusing here soon in the future of bringing some other bosses to the stage, right? Other people who are in their niches and thriving. So hint, hint, stay tuned for that. Got to bring it to light. We have been in the background too long when it comes to the cannabis industry. Cannabis nurses have to be hush hush because our nursing life. No, we're not doing that anymore. We're taking a stand. We're going to be on the forefront of this thing because that's where we need to be. Some other myths. Let me see. You guys dropped anything in the chat? Hey, good evening. Yes, yes, yes. Good evening. So okay, let's go to the next myth. I'm getting into cannabis nursing because I heard you can make a lot of money fast. I don't know who you heard that from. So people get caught up in the numbers of the cannabis world. Yes, cannabis world is very lucrative, and there's so much room and space for all of us. But it is a business just like anything else, and it has to be built. Again, there's no fast track to this, not for a long-term established business, right? When you see people fast tracking in the cannabis lane, 9 times out of 10, if they don't own their own dispensary, and we'll get to that, they're in some type of MLM. An MLM is built on building a team. So if that's not your niche, that's probably why you don't like MLM. I thought that I didn't like selling for forever or couldn't sell because I had been in that MLM world. And I really realized that I don't do well with building a team under those circumstances. I do well with showing people the power of the plant. So definitely a myth. Now, I don't want to discourage anyone. There is a very, very good opportunity to make money. And as you build and grow your business and scale, those money levels go up and up and up. But it depends on your pathway and what you're taking to get there. Are you rooted? Are you connected? Are you committed to what your end goal may be? It's no different than any other business, right? You want to get in the med spa world, regardless if it is cannabis related or not. It's money in med spa. But if you don't set your business up appropriately, you won't make any money, right? Same thing for us here in the cannabis world. I think one reason people get stuck and give up in this cannabis lane is because in the beginning, you get a bunch of no's, right? And they haven't learned how to adjust and pivot. Secondly, people don't know how to build that brand. That's a whole other class we're going to have on a different day. Positioning yourself in the cannabis world. They don't position themselves in the cannabis world. So they might have this awesome idea for business, or they might be full of wealth and knowledge and everyone around them needs them. But they don't put themselves in position. So they're doing all these tasks and doing all these things with no end goal. And they get lost in that first step or that second step because they're not progressing. And they probably quit right before the golden ticket. Right. So it's definitely persistence is key. It's key in any business, but in this kind of lane, you got to have persistence. You got to have discernment too, because there's a lot of bad eggs out here too. We're talking about cannabis, talking about the marijuana lane, dirty money, black market, and you have to realize that. So you have to be careful who you get connected to. Yes, yes. So that is myth number, what were we on? Is that number 4? We talked about cannabis nursing being an MLM. We talked about cannabis nursing in regards to being able to practice in your state, right? And then we talked about people want to make a lot of money. When you come in, if you want to be rich in 2 or 3 months, this ain't the lane for you. Not this way. There might be other routes, but you get in what you put out of anything. So you can't, you just can't discredit that. Okay. I want to touch a bit on the dispensary world. And I'm probably going to get some emails, some DMs about this, but it is what it is. I'm going to bring this to the light. You will hear people I think, mistakenly use that term dispensary. There are even some MLM companies. They're like, oh, have your own online dispensary. That's nothing but e-commerce. And you cannot sell marijuana online. Okay. So that's nothing but an e-commerce store. I'm sorry. A dispensary is a place that dispenses marijuana. Okay. Now, yes, you can have your own CBD store. You have your own. I just hate the terminology because they make it seem more than what it is. And also knowing that you can have your own e-commerce store. Just saying. So be careful of that. The CBD game is wide open, y'all. And again, I'm going to be bringing some experts. They already in here. They just quiet, but we finna bring some folks to light. We have an awesome boss in here rocking that brick and mortar CBD store. And I cannot wait to bring her to light. You watching with me? I'm not going to bust you out today, though. There are ways to get in it. Trying to start a dispensary as your first step as a cannabis nurse, you will fail and you will get discouraged and want to quit. So I'm gonna say y'all time. You will fail, you will get discouraged, and you will quit. The dispensary game is a rough game. How do I know? I've been in it. I was in the delivery service realm. We had what's called a co-op out in California. So many loopholes, so many gray areas when it came to that, because we didn't even have any regulation out in California at the time. They now have the Bureau of Cannabis Regulation. Can't remember the acronym for it, but it's called the Bureau of Cannabis Regulation, and they have different tiers based on if you want to cultivate. So that's a term you'll hear, guys. Cultivate is nothing but a fancy term for growing weed. Okay. But now they have different areas and aspects. If you want to cultivate it versus if you want to manufacture it versus if you want to dispense it, dispensaries, or they call it retail. And they even had one for, delivery service is a separate category. And now they even have a new one for events. I thought about applying for a California license to do events, but that event, it's a hard game. What makes getting a dispensary so hard is the amount of capital that you need to have, right? We're in the cannabis world. You can't go to the bank and get a loan to open a dispensary, okay? Or start a grow, okay? So at this point, you need either a team with money, or a team of investors, right? And unless you have been rooted in business before, in a canna lane, know about cannabis, it will be hard to find investors to invest in you, given that you've never ran a business and never ran a dispensary before. We're talking about $1 million plus in capital that's needed to start. So yes, dispensary, you definitely can make that money back, but it takes a couple of years. Granted, all of the regulations that are coming down and the taxes that are in the cannabis world. So it takes some time to get some footing with the dispensary, but it does not mean that it's not an attainable goal. Personally, my opinion is it's not a starting goal. I would love to have my own hemp farm. And believe it's already on the goal list, but it's going on the vision board next year. But that it's a step in the process to that, right? Staying ahead of the trends. People are so afraid of these states that are not legalized. That's where y'all need to be. I call it good ground. Y'all better fertilize that soil while people are sleeping on it. The South, yes, the laws is more, et cetera, et cetera. But when it breaks free, I'm gonna be in line to get my piece. I lived in California, had complete access. Don't miss it. Don't miss the can of world out there. But excited to get plugged in and connected to the cannabis world on this side. Virginia's doing some awesome things. There's an awesome cannabis nurse in here, Virginia, that's getting ready to set it on fire if she pursues those goals. I talk to so many nurses, y'all, about what their goals and their aspirations are. And a lot of you guys in this group have some dope ideas. My next question for you, though, is, are you an executor? And I don't know why I'm going this direction, but this direction we're going to roll with it. Do you turn those ideas into obtainable goals? And do you start to check them off? Right? You can stair step this thing, but you have to plan out those stair steps. Because what you don't want to do is take a step on a field that's constantly leveling, because you won't get anywhere. Are you an executor? Virginia's gonna be popping, North Carolina, Alabama, Arkansas, Oklahoma. Texas even has good opportunity in the CBD and consulting world, because they have loopholes in their medical marijuana programs that provide an excellent space for kind of nurses to just sleep right on in. This is where we need it. Let me fit. Chicago's another spot to get connected in. And speaking of Chicago, where's Chicago? Look, I'm gonna start calling you Chicago. Chicago in the building watching with me. I'm gonna be in Chicago September 18th and 19th. So we're gonna have to link up. I'm coming for, I can't tell y'all what I'm coming for yet because it ain't been announced yet. But I'm coming, and I'm coming. Yes, for an event. Yes, I'm sorry. You know the reason, I don't know if I be butchering your name, so that's why I don't be want to say it. Is it Tashana? Am I saying it right? If I am, drop a yes for me. I'm so bad when it comes to pronunciation and names. Yes, I'm gonna try and link us. I haven't. Tracy is a good friend of mine. I have a long cannabis nursing track record, right? That's not what she's currently doing. But man, we're going to definitely link up when we're there and get you connected, girl. It's execution season. Okay, I got totally off. Hello, Bobby. Welcome to our Wednesday night Canna Chat. We are on debunking myths. Debunking myths. Myths that people hear about or people think about the cannabis nursing world. So I broke down dispensaries. I broke down the MLM world. I broke down what it means to be able to practice as a cannabis nurse. It has nothing to do with legalities. And I broke down about making a lot of money fast. But don't discredit the cannabis world. CBD is estimated to be a 2-point-something billion industry by next year. I think that's big enough for you to get a piece. I think. You guys have any other questions about what myths you might hear, or questions that you might have about if you can practice or what you can or can't do? Would love to answer them. We got about 5 minutes, so I'll open up the floor to questions.